are welcomed. You'll have an opportunity again at the end of the agenda. Don?
Don Pimental, 40 Starr Road. I got a couple questions. First off is, I got this copy of a letter from the Board of Selectmen, April 27, 2015. I'm gonna read it so everybody can hear it. The date change for July 29, 2014 report was done on Selectmen's clerk's computer, which is password protected. Only 2 people have access to that computer, the interim secretary and executive assistant, personal director. The interim clerk did not make the change to this document. They're talking about the road list. I will file amended report for 2014 with the state removing the .339 of unapproved miles of Starr Road. I will also ensure that 2015 report is due by the end of June, includes this as well. I will ensure that the document is properly saved on the administrator's computer for future reference and updating so the changes are reviewed, approved by the selectmen. Now this is the status of Starr Road. I brought my as-built, which says end of town owned road on my as-built. And I also brought this copy that says end of town road on my Mylar for you guys to review. I want to know what the status is because we have an application, 15029 inland wetlands. On this application, it's to do water bars on the old trail that everybody's trying to call the road here within the town hall. My problem is, this was on the first application, 15025, which was postponed because they didn't notify us. We went to the hearing on the 10th, she said, it's canceled. You gotta come back on the 10th so we can make the new date. I said, okay, we'll come back on the 10th. So we went back on the 10th, they made us a new date, December 2nd. It was postponed again because of the lack of notification. They were 14 days instead of 15 days. During that November 10th meeting, the wetland enforcing officer says to us, we're dropping the water bars. Mr. Rawson feels, point blank, that's the town's problem, it's town property. So he's not gonna do the water bars. 7 days later, the last day of Paul Lanky's administration, he writes a letter, it's on the back of this thing, which I'm gonna hand to you guys, to go ahead and give him permission to do the water bars. They took it off my public hearing. They wrote a whole new application, so I brought one for you. One for you. I got one for you here somewhere. I know I got one. This is yours.
Thank you.
This is yours. This is also a copy of,
Is this part of it, Don?
what is that?
There's 2
Yep,
parts.
yep.
Okay, no, just making sure,
This is another, but I want to Steve.
because I've got this.
Give that to Steve, because
Oh,
he doesn't
sorry.
have one. And this is yours. And I also brought updated road list from 2011, 2006, 7, and 8. There is no .339. I also brought some paperwork from 2001 where I had to buy land from my father for road frontage. I think I gave that all to you already, correct? You got a copy of it? Where I had to buy the road frontage?
No.
My question to the Board of Selectmen is, I asked Ms. Butts on Monday, when I turned in my petition for the new application, if we could have both hearings together, seeing it was that way, was the way it was originally. And she said no, because this Wednesday, we're canceling the meeting, we're gonna give you a new date. So I asked her, why don't we wait till December 8th, when you have the regular meeting like you're supposed to? She said to me point blank, I wouldn't recommend that to the commission. And I wanna know why that is. Why was it taken off the first application and 7 days later be put on with a new application? And I hope you go to the back page and see the letter from Mr. Lanky. Can I have a copy of it? On the very last page of the original document, which is I-5029, Mr. Lanky writes, by this letter, River Junction LLC is given written consent to apply for inland wetlands and watercourse permit to construct water diversion on Starr Road as identified on plans entitled Topographic Improvement Location Plan, prepared for the town of Thompson, Starr Road in Thompson, Connecticut, prepared by Messier Associates. How can you prepare something in Starr Road when I have MyLars and we have a amended road list for Mr. Lanky removing the .339? A little confused. I'd like some clarity on that one. If you guys could provide any information on that. Because I called the state DOT again today. They have 65 years of road records of .15, 792 feet, no unapproved miles ever. And also, my last thing, I was reading the minutes from 2014, and we had a meeting with Mr. John Mahan, and they were discussing whether that property up there was a free split or re-subdivision. I'm gonna read you what Mr. Rice said. There was a discussion as to whether or not the property in question is a re-subdivision or a free split. John Mahan indicated that he looked up the map 1108 and noted the land is labeled as remaining land. The map indicated that the land was all one parcel, 0 New Road. John Rice noted that when the commission approved the division in 2006, it was indicated that those lots in question are not buildable. That's what it says on the 0 New Road subdivision, they aren't buildable. I also have some minutes from 2006 where the use of Starr Road for gravel mining removal is prohibited. Right around the same time where he got his lots. So I want some clarity from the board if they can check into this. And then I want to go back to 2002 minutes. Mr. Al Landry is here tonight. I'm sure this will refresh his memory. Al asked a question to the chairman, Charlie Paquette. If there's any public input, Al Landry, Randall Road, asked the difference between a dead end and a cul-de-sac road. Any existing dead end road in Thompson cannot be extended more than 1,000 feet from the center line intersecting street, as the same as a cul-de-sac. There was no further input. Now we have cul-de-sac regulations. The first line says, road posted, dead end all that cannot exceed 1,000 feet, may or may not have a turnaround. If it doesn't have a turnaround, drive to Roy Road, that's a cul-de-sac road. Go to C Strand Road, that's a cul-de-sac road. Go to Starr Road, it has a turnaround, that's a cul-de-sac road. Next paragraph, a cul-de-sac road must have a teardrop island at the end of it. That's the new roads. But I've been told for the last 21 months, that only applies to new roads. Well, I called Kevin Kennedy in Orange County, where he used to be the town planner. You guys discussed these new rules in a workshop. The cul-de-sac applies to existing roads and new roads. There's 3 separate paragraphs in there. They wouldn't be talking about a new road if it said may or may not have a turnaround. It spells it out. I have the Rocky Brook subdivision here, 0 New Road. Now, I talked to the Planning and Zoning Board about this. They do a roll call vote before they sign this MyLaw. Everybody agrees to this. And I also want to make the note, when Al Landry said that comment and asked that question in 2002, and was answered, that was a public hearing, and Mr. Alan Rawson was present during that. One thing about the minutes, they don't lie. So, the subdivision that I have says 0 New Road properties. You go to page 2, remaining land, this area shall be construed not as a buildable lot. Go to page 4, remaining land shall not be construed as a buildable lot. So I looked up our mandatory things. Shall not means mandatory, non-discretionary. So it was agreed upon back in 2007 when they made this agreement, when they signed these MyLaws. They're recorded in the town hall. Now also, on Starr Road, there's a map that shows end of town maintained road, point blank 1978. 5 years later, it was finally deeded over to the town of Thompson. Took 5 years for you guys to get that 17-foot strip. from Anthony Maserati and Linda Speranto. I think I've given enough information tonight where someone could get back to me and everybody else in this room with some positive answers here, because Ms. Mutz seems to tell me that that bridge is a go, as far as she's concerned. And if that happens, he's gonna be hauling cord wood out of that road. No, he's not. Until the town can prove that that's town property, nobody should be touching anything up there. Not me or anybody else. Thank you.
I will get answers to your questions.
Thanks, Ken.
Anybody else? Kevin?
Thank you, Kevin Walsh, Plain Road, and Kenny, thank you for follow-up in regards to questions from the folks at the last meeting. It's different and it's optimistic, so thank you. Getting to the Starr Road issue, a year ago, we had a public hearing. The question was put to the previous Board of Selectmen, can you determine whether or not Starr Road exists as a road beyond the 0.15 miles? And they said that they would be getting back to the folks, and the only thing that the previous board could come up with is a forgery or altered documents. That's the only thing that they have. That's all that they presented to the people. It was investigated, and it was proved that these documents have been altered. And under the impression that this is part of some evidence that's been submitted to the state's Attorney General's office for investigation. Now, my main concern is that it's apparent there are employees within our town hall here who are taking it upon themselves to declare the qualified definition of what Starr Road is physically. You have documentation with this filed with the State of Connecticut Department of Transportation that says 0.15 miles improved, nothing on the unimproved, for a total of 0.15. You have a letter which you folks received from the previous selectmen clarifying that and rectifying some either lack of attention being paid to the submission of road statuses here in town. But yet people here that work here in town hall, they're taking it upon themselves to define what Starr Road is. I'm requesting this Board of Selectmen to promptly question these people, and if they have evidence, which the previous board was supposed to present to the public, if they have evidence that is more significant than a falsified road report submitted to the Department of Transportation, State of Connecticut, I think those people should present that evidence to this board. And then this board can share the evidence that they have, employees of the town working on this on our dime, advocating for a private citizen. I'm hoping that you people go to these people that are calling Starr Road what it is, all the way up to the Rhode Island line, ask them for the evidence and present it to you, and then you can turn around and share it with us. But if they can't, I think they need to be corrected by this board, specifically the first selectman, for them to be very careful with the language that they use in this particular situation, because it's prejudicing the general public. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Anybody else?
Ken, I just want to note one more thing. Don Pimental, 40 Starr Road. I also looked up what we get paid for the road from the state. I guess we get reimbursed and the value of the road. And I went back to 2010, and I got the Starr Road. It tells you exactly what the road is and the length. 0.15, 24 feet wide, 2,112 square yards. Current cost of that road is $16,727. I got these records all the way to 2012, and they all are the same. The only thing is the new records don't say the road anymore. They left that part out, I don't know why. But the value has not changed, it's still 16,000, it's still 0.15.
Is that the information from the state?
Nope, this is information right from the office
Oh, no, I'm
upstairs.
just asking because you were
No, right from
saying
the
the
office.
0.15 and the 0.339.
No, this is right from the
Yeah,
office
the
upstairs in
clarification.
Paula's office, the finance department.
Okay. Okay. Anybody? Oh,
Ray
Right.
Bowie, 168 Quinnebog. Just for your information, yeah. Oh, damn it. Let me get back to it. Your comments about the Board of Education and the proposed code of conduct, ethics code. Board of Education, chapter 170, section 220, 10-220, specifically says the school committee is an agent of the state and not of the town. And second, it says again, in matters not involving strictly budgetary et cetera. Anyway, if your lawyer doesn't know about this, he should, but even so, there is no conflict if that is good, and there's no conflict if it's bad, because it's, anyway, it specifically exempts the Board of Education for that reason.
The board itself, the board
Yes.
only.
you have a copy of the statute there?
I can give it to you.
If you would at the end of the meeting, would be
Yeah.
appreciated. Thank you, Ray. Excuse me? Oh,
Christine Campbell, 861 Thompson Road. Few comments. First, I'd like to say thank you, putting citizens' comments back to where it always used to be. I greatly appreciate that, as I'm sure everybody else does. Secondly, I was gonna say a lot, but Kevin really said what I wanted to say, but I wanted to reinforce that because I would like to know, I thought that the first selectman oversees all the departments in the town. Is that correct? That you're the boss, so to speak, of the other boards and
they,
such?
certain departments have their rules and their regulations.
And you're supposed to make sure that they do what they're supposed to,
The
right?
first selectman oversees the day-to-day stuff.
Okay.
Okay, they keep me in the loop of different projects and whatever business is going on.
And if you find them doing something inappropriate, are you able to step in and say, stop that?
First elected does have some leeway to do certain things.
So as far as Starr Road with these bars that the former selectman gave permission to put in, is anything gonna happen with that, or are you going to find out what really is going on
I'm still
happens?
gathering information and talking with town council about a variety of issues pertaining to Starr Road. Because there's been a lot of information out there. Whatever decision that we make, we wanna make sure that the decision is accurate. That it's not misleading, it's the fact, this is it, and then we move on from there.
I think Mr. Pimental gave you tons of evidence of what really is the true facts. So I would hope that something going forward happens before those water bars.
Nothing is done up on Starr Road when it comes to construction of the road without the first selectman directing the town foreman to go ahead and do the work.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
So, we are proceeding cautiously to make sure that all the i's and t's are crossed and dotted.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Hearing none, you'll have another opportunity. And we're looking at a resolution for